Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Live Your Dreams podcast. I'm your host, Joe Gawalis, alongside this fantastic co-host,
Chris Victor.
Chris. Today, we have an incredibly dynamic individual joining us, an expert in the fitness and health field for over 27 years. She's an author, motivational speaker, celebrity trainer, nutritionist, including such celebrities as Hillary Swank, Pink, Clara Dangst, amongst other. And on top of that, she doesn't stop there. She was a number 2 ranked boxer in the world. And after all that, she launched her own brand, Code Red Lifestyles. I'm telling you, she is incredible. And now she has a brand new documentary. And I'm telling you, this is a fantastic journey. Code Red's Diaries of Madness. Please welcome Cristy Nickel to the Live Your Dreams podcast. Cristy, thank you for coming on board.
Thanks, Joe. And we are holding steady in the top 5 right now. So
it's fantastic.
I love it. And deserved. I'm telling you, when as soon as I heard your opening line, I'm willing to do what other people aren't, I was like, she is my kind of person. I was like, this is somebody who's dynamic. It grabbed me from the start. Top 5, well deserved to be there. Really, Cristy, I mean that.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's we had a big premiere party here in Boise, Idaho, and we had some of the biggest people here, and we viewed the film for the first time on the big screen.
Yeah.
And it was so strange to see this Idaho farm girl, this preacher's daughter, have a worldwide premiere of a film. It's been really wonderful.
And most people don't realize, when you see your own work on the big screen for the first time, right? Isn't that like such a surreal feeling?
Yeah.
So you're seeing yourself up there. What did you feel like mentally when you were first seeing it? You said it's hard to see, the preacher's daughter going from Idaho to this, but to see it on the big screen, you really must have felt some emotions going through that.
Yeah, I really did. I guess it kind of like what I said in the film, when I had placed, and you guys will have to watch the film, those of you guys listening, you'll have to see what happened at the end when I got on stage. Where did I place? But I didn't realize I had placed as high as I did until after the whole thing. So seeing myself on the film at that moment, it was surreal. It was strange. It was weird. It was just like, what the heck? I never dreamt that I knew I was meant for something big, but I didn't know it would be this, and it was very strange. But it's such a great film, so inspiring. So you just get fired up when you watch it.
No, I'm telling you, we get a lot of screeners, obviously, and from the second you spoke at the beginning, I was hooked the entire time. I watched watched through the entire thing. It's like an hour and 48. I loved every minute of it. I was like, this is really incredible. I was motivated. It was inspiring. I watched it one sitting, obviously, in my living room watching it. And then I watched it again throughout my day going to the gym, and I had it on. Like, it pumps you up. It gets you there. Your story is awesome. Really, you are an incredible individual.
Well, thank you. It wasn't always that way, but I came from nothing and I worked my way up to this point. I was raised really poor by a very rough childhood, very rough dad who just was a disciplinarian, and he just wanted his girls to be very disciplined. And so if we wanted anything, we had to earn it. We had to earn it ourselves. We had to get a job. I bought my first horse at 10 years old, making $50 monthly payments to my neighbor for 10 solid months. And so that's just been the kind of hard work, but it's not just hard work getting you to where you are. I do disagree with people, because I have my companies, we've done very well with my company Code Red, and people are like, it's just hard work. No, it's not. It's kind of a knowing the right people and having the right people make you, because me just getting in front of Generation Iron, they didn't know who I was. They don't I'm an ex-pro fighter. That's not something that it's a bodybuilding. It's a bodybuilding. Never featured a female before, and they've done over 50 films. And so for me to get in front of Generation Iron, it was a phone call from Chris Gethin, and it was other things falling into place. So it is hard work, but it is knowing the right people, and it is having the right coaching and the right advice, and just doing your time in the industry.
No, yeah, and you seemed to follow that throughout your entire life. I mean, you went to Manhattan for your boxing career. You did so much by trying to get in front of the right people. Was this because you were the Idaho girl from the Midwest, and you had a disciplinarian father? Did you have to, not to get out of there, but say, you know what, I really need to always situate myself around those right people to move forward in life?
Yeah, 100%. I knew that what was kind of expected of me was, to kind of settle down and have kids. And there wasn't really anything big that we talked about in our household growing up. We didn't. And so, but I felt in my heart that there was something more. And I just needed to get away from that small town mentality and get around people who could excel me to something bigger. I mean, just like what you'll hear in the film, how did I even get started in bodybuilding? I didn't know anything about lifting weights. I just know that I saw girls with muscles and I wanted muscles. And if I just went to a gym, maybe if I could just watch people, and so I knew there was something more in getting out of that small town. And guys, I'm not against small towns.
Exactly. Yep.
I think that's great. You come from a small town like I did in northern Idaho of 2,000 people. If your dad's a preacher and a sheriff, like that's great. But there is more out there. Experience all of it. And I knew I needed to see what else were options for me out there. So I made the point.
Yeah. It reminds me of the true Hollywood story where the actress comes from a small town and she becomes successful. You started with the bodybuilding, the fighting, and now you're an actress.
I'm not an actor, not at all. I'm only Cristy Code Red. So like people, it's funny because these films, when you film them, you guys know that it's behind the scenes is always like, we need to retake, we need to do that take again. Yeah. We need, and I've done other films. I had several documentaries. I had my own MTV show, and it was like, okay, let's reshoot that. And then let's have you slow down the walk just a bit. It's never what you think. And I can only be, at one point, our producer, I don't know if you guys have talked to Vlad, our producer, but Vlad said, he's very hard to make laugh. And he goes, yo, Chris, he's from New York, very New York. Yo, Cristy, listen, we need you to do this movement. And I said, yeah, Vlad, I do that, but I'm not wearing any underwear, so I can't do that movement, And he was just like, oh, yo, Cristy, So the one thing about is you just got to be authentic. And so these, that really shines through, but it's so hard. Sometimes you have to reshoot, and sometimes you're shooting late, you're up early, and we're doing 12-hour days, 14-hour days. These films are not easy, but I made sure that I showed up as my true self. So the Cristy you're seeing now, or the Cristy in a Circle K parking lot, or a Cristy at church, or wherever, is the same Cristy.
No, that's so important, and it comes across that way. I mean, you can't fake that, and your whole dynamic, you are that person. You embody, your energy says it now, who you are. You have that confidence as a person. But at the end of the day, even when you see yourself on there, you see somebody who's this powerful woman, you're a champion fighter, you're doing so much in life, what you did, and I'm not going to spoil the documentary, but your journey to what you've accomplished. But at the end of the day, look at your eyes. You have this kind soul inside of you. You're a good person to be around. You can tell, you have the right energy. You want what's good for the people around you. And that's so important.
I really appreciate you saying that, because I really hope people can see my heart, because I am so hard on them. And I get so frustrated with my clients, and I have an app, and we have about 20,000 people in it. Sure. And I coach about that many every day, every other day. And I just go, oh, this tough love approach only works if they can see that you love them. So I want to make sure people know that, and I've been called, I just, hear about a month ago, I posted something about, it's something that was taken as fat shaming. And I certainly wasn't fat shaming. And even a family member even said, I can't, they got on board with the fat shaming and kind of turned against me. And I was like, come on, you guys know I love you.
Yeah. No, and I think you're right. When people know what you're trying to accomplish, a lot of people are very sensitive nowadays. And look, there's people are now getting a little oversensitive, but tough love comes from a place because you see better in somebody. If you just accept mediocrity for your clients, why are they hiring you? Why are they a part of what you're doing? You're trying to drive people to that next level, right? Like, you're bringing them to where they go. So it's frustrating not only for yourself, but seeing them discredit what they're working on, to see them not rise to the occasion. I get it.
I refuse to water down my brand because somebody is trying to bully me into saying or doing something that this is the most saturated industry on the planet. You know how hard it is to make it as a weight loss coach? Well, I look at the award behind me. I mean, we're making millions, and we're reaching millions. And you don't do that as a single girl coming up from nothing with no MBA, like just kind of winging this, and it's because I will not budge. I am willing to risk it all, even family members turning against me. I'm willing to risk everything. I'm willing to lose my condo. I'm willing to go. I'm willing to sleep under a bridge for my message. And that, I think, is really going to take me far.
I mean, if you're not being tough, I would say if you're not going to be tough on them, people are not tough on themselves. Usually people buy a home gym equipment, but they hang their clothes on it. So they need a coach to be tough on them. And with regard also giving the important details about how a high fat diet can be good for you, the right fats. I mean, I remember in your documentary, you say you gave some nutritional information as well. It's very important that people have a coach to do that because they're misled by the mainstream media with regard to what to eat or not.
Well, there's no money in healthy people. So it's driven by industry, it's driven by money, it's driven by lobbyists, and they do not care about us. It's up to us to look out for ourselves. Ain't nobody coming for you, and the government, the education system, it's built on a pharmaceutical paradigm. It's such a bunch of bull crap, the medical system.
Yeah.
So we have been we have been sold a bill of goods over the past 70 years. It's wrong, and it's based around money, because if they can keep you sick and fat, they can keep you dependent on the system, and I'm not going to stand here and take that. I'm going to fight with every last breath inside of me to spread the message of hope and healing. And if I get called a fat shamer, if I lose family members, if I lose money, I do not care. I will continue to claw my way through this until the diet industry crumbles and falls. And even as a capitalist, even as an ultra conservative girl, I think it's bullcrap that we are continuing to be lied to by the food industry, by the government, by the medical system.
No, and Cristy, it goes to show you, and I loved your attitude, and people will see this when they watch the documentary. What you just said right there, you are willing to sacrifice, you are willing to push forward, you are willing to burn the bridge, go as far and as long as it takes to get to where you're going to go. People will see you have actually lost personal relationships to move forward in your life, in your career. So many people are unwilling to take that sacrifice. Now, we have so many viewers that are young entrepreneurs, young artists that are in the craft of acting or writers. A lot of people like that watch our show. What you did is so inspiring to all of them because you went and would never compromise. You had that in your mind. What inspired you? Because it's hard to be like that. Was it a natural thing you were born with, or did that grow over time where you said, you know what, I see my objective, I'm going for it, nothing's stopping me to get there?
It grew. I noticed it when it was a little bit, when I had it in me, when I was younger. It's like when I didn't believe any different. My mom told me at one point, I guess I had a bad habit when I was really little. I had a bad lisp, and I had a bad habit of saying, I can't. And my mom finally said, you're Cristy, I can. You are not Cristy, I can't. And I'm telling you, at 2 years old or whatever that was, that something switched to my brain. So even from a young age, I kind of I dug my heels and I saw it through to the end. But boxing really taught me to see things through to the end. And during this and that kind of that translated over. And I know that with business, I was on Idaho State food stamps, and then I made my first $1 million in 1 year, and then I hit 10 million in 3 years. And so being able to stick with it, that's entrepreneurs, boy, they give up. I mean,
Yeah.
if people would realize how much hate I get every single day online, I get called names. I mean, people hate my hair. They don't like my body. They don't like what I say. There's always something. I mean, it doesn't matter what I do. I get the hate.
Sure.
But so many people can cave in and you'll see that in the documentary, they cave in to the pressure. So many entrepreneurs, they give up when the going gets tough. And that is something that just continued to push me forward. And even now I'm in prep. I'm in prep for my next show, and it's been a year. I've been out of it for a year, and I got back into prep for another show at the end of the summer. And there are no cameras around. Nobody's watching. Nobody knows. It's just me and my coaches, and it's just something I'm doing for me. So even when nobody's watching, how are you showing up for yourself? And I call bull crap on the entrepreneurs listening right now. And you are being such a baby, and you're waiting for the stars and the moon to align, and you're waiting for certain. Ain't none of that gonna happen. Show up and do what you need to do. Stop trying to diversify too much. Line yourself up for what you do. Where I saw a guy with a sticker on the back of his car yesterday, and it said "carpet stretching. Call this phone number." And I was like, "There's a guy who is like, that's what I do. All right, I'm just staying in my lane, carpet stretching."
Yep.
And I'm sure the guy's doing really well. These entrepreneurs, what a bunch of babies I see out there. Buck up and keep your word at least to yourself, because people are watching and you're watching. And I think it's baloney how quickly people give up. And that's the kind of message I wanted people to get from the film. They can do more than what they think. Even I can do more than what I think. And people just sell themselves short. It's sickening.
No, you're 100% right. Chris and I discuss this a lot with people in business, and I would say a lot of people are just weak. They won't go through the struggle, right? If something doesn't go their way, they literally immediately fold. It's over. They're not willing to go forward because it's so difficult. And people will see on a documentary, again, we won't spoil what happens, but there's a moment in there where something terrible happens to you, and you are so raw and vulnerable, and that's so beautiful that you included that, because people. This is not just like a glorified piece of you patting yourself on the back and saying, good for me. People see what you go through and the ups and the downs, and so importantly, the downs, because you really want to be an entrepreneur or pursuing anything that requires your life's dedication, you better be able to go through those downs, and you showed that so well throughout this documentary. Really, it's beautiful you were willing to show that.
Well, we had over 3 terabytes worth of footage that took them 8 months to sort through, and there were a couple of other things that they didn't show, that it didn't make it in the film. I will tell you one of them. I was walking my dog one night. I was so freaking hungry, you guys. I was so hungry, and my energy was down, because that's what happens when you're trying to lose a tremendous amount of body fat and get down that lean. You're hungry. That's just, guys, that's just how it goes. You just prepare to be a little bit hungry.
Yeah.
Uncomfortable. And somebody had left a half-eaten Sonic chili burger on the side, kind of in the gutter a little bit. And guys, I went down, I ate the other half of that Sonic. And I did. And I was just like, I ate food out of the gutter. Guys, that was the lowest of the low. I ate food out of the gutter. And people don't realize that you want to, like, you feel like you're going to meet your maker at some point. Sometimes I crawled to my car on my hands and knees. Don't nobody want to go through that. They want to go through the fun part where you're tan and you got all this bright makeup on and you're walking on stage and the pictures are click, click, click. That's one part of it. And that's life. Life is comprised of 5 big moments of your life. You know, like when you get married, when you have your baby, life is mostly, even for rich people, even for celebrities, and I've been around these folks, life is doing the laundry. Life is picking up dog poop. Can you be happy in the small stuff? Can you be happy when it ain't looking too pretty?
No, and that's so beautifully put, because it's not what they think it is. It's like that. I think it was either you, your coach, or a quote in your business where you guys even said, when you're on stage, you look good, but you feel terrible, right? Like, what you need to do to get there, people don't want to do it in any sense of the word, in any kind of business. Doesn't matter what they're doing. People just, for some reason, always want to take this easy path out or default back to what they're used to. I mean, when you started and you went into fighting, right? Because you even say, and it's beautiful if you don't mind me saying, you say in the documentary, you started fighting. You had no idea what you're doing, right? You join this, you start doing this thing. It could have been so easy for you to just default to what you were used to and say, you know what? I'm not going to push through this. I'm going to go backwards. I'm going to keep doing the same old thing. What motivated you not to do that? Because it's so easy to say, you know what? I'm just going to keep doing what I was doing, as opposed to moving forward and improving my situation.
You know, you got to know, I mean, come on, Kenny Rogers. You got to know when to hold them. You got to know when to hold them. I just don't, I knew, I guess in the back of my mind, I was a good fighter. Even that first fight I lost, and it was really hard to come back from that. How do you keep moving forward when everything is against you? I guess I know that a couple of things. People are watching. And if I don't have a choice but to move forward. If I stop and retreat and give up and put up my hands and say, you know what, it was too tough, I'm going back to what's familiar to me, then who knows the kind of people I'm letting down. And I'm not saying live your life for other people, but a part of me is living my life for the people. Me showing up is actually causing other people to show up.
Yeah.
So if you just need that little bit of edge, hey, I don't even have kids. There's some people, like a lot of people say to me, well, I don't have a big flat platform like you, Cristy. I'm not doing big things. Oh, believe me, your 2 and your 4-year-old are watching you, Karen. Don't give me that baloney. I don't need it. They're watching every move. They're watching you more than they're watching me. And you make a bigger influence on them. So you need to show up. And I know people are watching. People from all over the world are watching and waiting and seeing what's going to happen next. So even if I don't have it in me to want to, like, you know, a couple of times, you guys, I wanted to quit, but the cameras were rolling.
Sure, yeah.
I was like, well, I can't. I signed the contract with Generation Iron. Like, we paid a lot of money to make this film. I got to see this through the end. I don't care what keeps you guys going, but don't back out, because there is a reason why 9 out of 10 people in this country are overweight and 5 out of 10 are obese. It's because they have given up on themselves over and over and over. Really? You're going to give up on yourself again? You won't even walk to the mailbox and back? You won't even walk to the Walmart thing without circling 15 times? Like, stop letting yourself down. I'm so sick of these half-assed people who are not even willing to do anything. They let themselves down, off the hook constantly. And I see that and I realize I'm doing it on a kind of a much bigger scale and in a much more visual scale, like people are watching, but it's still letting me it's still letting myself down if I say, I'm tired of it. I had done that for a year prior to the film starting, and I was just like, "That's not you, Cristy. Knock that crap off." I mean, I'm not David Goggins. I mean, that guy is amazing, but I'm kind of I'm a lower version of it, and I know that people are watching, and I've got to show up, and I've got to prove to them that they can be done.
No, that's so well put. It's interesting you said that, right? Because when you see clips of you, when you're starting the transformation to get back in, certain people that have that go, that people can call it an alpha or whatever you want to call it, right? That power that always wants to succeed. You can see the difference in your eyes from the beginning when you're not satisfied in yourself to where you go later in the film where you become Cristy again, right? Like, it's almost like you lost your identity when you were preparing for that year, when you kind of were sitting back on your laurels. It feels to me so many people in society do that. They lose who they really are, and they're kind of just like going through the motions. They're almost like on a conveyor belt going through life, really not doing anything, just going through that loop over and over again.
When I was taking off my clothes on stage for the before shot, it was a lot of people commented. They said your before shots that was what I would like to look like. And it's not about what my body looked like. It was about the shame and the self-loathing. It was about the disappointment I had in myself. And that's what I was exposing as I was taking my clothes off for the before pictures and the before measurements and for my coach to give me a good evaluation. It was me almost like just coming out with it and saying, here I am. And here is I'm exposing all the self-loathing, all the discipline. I mean, all the disappointment, no discipline. And I'm just saying, hey, here it is, letting it all hang out. And I was so disappointed in myself. And so it's not about the way my body looked as much as about my disappointment and my shame and my, that I had let myself down. And so many people do that. It's more, to me, that moment was more metaphorical, more of a deeper thing going on. I mean, taking off my clothes was so hard, standing up in front. And what you guys couldn't see were the people behind the cameras. There were so many people in that room.
Sure.
They were all filming me and they were taking pictures and they all had great bodies. And I was just like, well, Cristy, here you're coming face to face with your bullcrap decisions.
Yeah.
Time after time after time, you let yourself down. You said, I'll start again tomorrow. I'll start again Monday. I'll start again at the first of the month. It's just one piece. It's just one bite. It's just one slice. And all those just ones of just disappointment, finally, I had to just expose it all. And that was the turning point. And I was terrified. I was scared. But then I started coming back from that. And man, I came back to being myself again.
Yeah.
And more than anything, just back to being proud of myself.
No, yeah, you see that so much, and it's so important. That was such a powerful message. I related to that so much because I feel I'm the same way. People may watch something that I created or one of the episodes, and I get so down on myself because I didn't put the best into it. And I think entrepreneurs need to be that way. If you're not putting 100% in, it doesn't matter how everybody else perceives it. If you're not giving your all to something, it's not good enough. It's not where it should be. It doesn't matter if people say, well, I liked it. It was good. It wasn't your best, and you're letting yourself down, and therefore you're letting everybody else around you down. I love that you said that because I try to live that way every day, and I love that you inspire people to live that way because it's the truth.
And you've got to be a product.
I mean, two things. Yeah, two things come to mind. Two things. One is, the word impossible, looking at it differently, I'm possible. And the other thing is a Marianne Williamson poem about don't shrink down. Let your own inner light shine to liberate others to do the same. So you're giving the message. We talk about kids. We talk about nutrition. The kids won't outlive their parents if they don't change their diet. So it's amazing that you're going to get this message across the world, and you have a platform both through the video or the film as well as now on the podcast. So thank you.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I only caught about one every 3 words there. Sorry, Chris. So did you ask me a certain question, or are you just making a point?
No, that's what I was saying. Two things came to mind when you talk. It reminds you of that phrase, impossible. But if you look at it differently, it's I'm possible. And then there's a Marianne Williamson poem that talks about letting your own inner light shine to give people the liberation to do the same. So you're really helping people. And the other thing I mentioned about kids, if they're not, watching their diet, they may not outlive their parents with regard to the way the, modern food system is these days.
Oh, we have very clear studies that show that we do not have enough kids coming up to replace our first responders, to replace our military, to replace our police force. I'm very passionate. I have a Code Red Kids program. I'm very passionate about children, and they come up to me. And I never had this growing up. I never had someone speak into my life. And when kids come up to me, and it's usually, they'll say, "Are you Cristy Code Red?" And, when I was been down, I love kids. I just chose to never have any of my own. And I go, "Yes, I am." Like, "You helped my mommy lose 47 pounds and she's so much happier." And then I have about 40 seconds with that kid, and I pour into that child and make sure that they are left with something good. You just don't know. You don't know what effect you can have, especially on kids. But we have we have kids with 9, 10-year-olds with diabetes. That's not their fault. Parents, that's blood on your hands. I am calling you out, parents. That's blood on your hands. And you think you're going to get little Johnny a Costco pizza. You're going to get little Johnny the little Lunchables and those bull crap food. Parents, kids should not be getting type 2 diabetes. This is baloney. And he's getting bullied at school. He's 123 pounds in the 3rd grade. This is a heart attack waiting to happen. We have got to step up and do something about our kids. They're not doing the shopping. It's you, our parents. So I'm really passionate about the kids. I agree with you.
No, you're so right, and I'm glad that people need to take responsibility for their actions. A 9-year-old cannot take responsibility for their own actions, so that does go on to parents. Everybody in life needs to start taking a hard look at themselves in the mirror, and I love that you said that. If you're not where you want to be, if the kids are not correct, that goes on to parents. We all have to look at ourselves and say, you know what, am I willing to take responsibility at what I'm doing? I think that's so well put, and I'm glad, look, it's hard to say the things you said because especially in today's culture, people do not want to hear truth. They want to hear a watered-down version of what makes them feel good. And for you to say that, it shows the integrity you have in the beliefs of your system. I'm very proud that you said something like that because it takes a lot of guts to speak like that.
Well, thank you, Joe. Nobody means to poison their kids. They think that the low-fat Snackwell cookies are actually healthy because right on the outside of the package it says healthy whole grains. How can that possibly be wrong? And the food industry and the government, they're specifically hiding what is the sugar is doing to us, and we're becoming a little more aware of the sugar of the dose-dependent hepatotoxin. Like, we're really poisoning ourselves with the amount of sugar. But they think that low fat, like, oh, but it's low fat. Oh, it's a Go-Gurt. It's got a little of cow, jumping through the wheat and through the field. And they think that's healthy for your kids. We are doing this to our kids. We are poisoning them. And some parents don't know the nature of the trap because the food industry marketing is absolutely incredible to make you think it's healthy. And we just trust it, and we have to learn. And something else you said, Joe, you said people, this was a while back. Sorry, it stuck in my head.
No, please.
You said the days turn into weeks, turn into years, and their life goes by, and we don't do anything about it. I am amazed at now. I just turned 48 here just a couple of weeks ago, and I'm very aware that time is going by so fast, and the days do slip into years. And these, what have you done with your life? People say, well, I'd die for my kids. I'd die for my kids. You weren't even living for your kids. Don't give me that because the days slip by. And where are you? You're in your 40s, you're in your 50s, you're in your 60s. And I guess that's what drives me to want to continue to be super healthy. I was having a talk with my mom. My mom is not, my mom is in her 70s and she's not healthy. And neither is my dad. It's very frustrating to me. And I keep telling my mom, can you just walk? And she's like, I said, Mom, 10,000 steps a day. And she goes, how about 10,000 steps a week? And she thinks that's funny. It's not funny. And I said, Mom, will you go for a walk with me tomorrow morning? She doesn't live too far from me. And she said, honey, I'm in my 70s. I want to sleep in. I said, when I am 71, like you, and you are 93, I am going to show you what it's like to be, and she just has it in her mind that this is just how it's going to be. And I can't believe it because that time is coming, guys. It's coming before you know it. You'll be in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and all of a sudden, where are you? You're fat and sick and you've accomplished nothing. You have a dream in your you have a dream in your heart. You have something down deep in your soul. But what did you do? Well, I put my kids first. I put my kids first, and now where are you? You have not started that business. You have not taken care of your health. You haven't taken care of your marriage. Now your husband's sleeping with the secretary. Your life is a mess because you did not put yourself first. You did not keep your dreams right here. I don't have any sympathy for people like that. The time is now, guys.
You so well said. I couldn't agree more with everything you're saying. I try to live myself in the same kind of way. I think that's beautifully put, and I think people need to hear it like that. You need to get out there. You need to be dynamic. You need to go for things. Life is not going to wait for you. Really, that's so well put. And that message is for our listeners, again, back to your documentary, that message is throughout your documentary. You will see that. And I'm telling you, people will be motivated, not only by listening to you now, but when they watch your documentary, why it's hanging on in that top 5 slot. Because it is motivational, and you can watch it once, twice, 3 times, learn something different every time. You're giving pieces of knowledge like this throughout the documentary, which is beautiful because people need to hear these things. It's so easy to fail sideways in life and kind of just think you're moving forward when really you're not making any momentum, and you're just kind of, again, floating sideways, and once in a while, life's over before you know it.
Yeah, 100%. And Chris, I want to make sure I don't keep talking in case you wanted to jump in. I feel bad.
No. I like listening. Oh, I learned about you.
Chris is a great listener. And again, talking about great listeners, you talked before about dealing with children and how they come up to you and talk about how you're inspiring their parents. How do you feel sometimes now, right? You just said you're turning 48 years old. When you see everything you accomplished and you look in the mirror and you look back at that little girl from Idaho and you say, man, look how far I've come from that little girl into the adult I am now. Would you go back in time and tell her I'm proud of everything I've accomplished and I'm doing it right? How did that feel? Because we all look at ourselves and say, what happened to that little person inside of me? How do you feel when you go to talk to the young version of Cristy when you look at yourself in the mirror sometimes?
Yeah, I do. I'm really proud of myself. I do. And I think back to that little, because I had such a great childhood. I know it was a rough childhood, but it really taught me a lot. And I see parts of the way I am now in her back then. And I go, oh, now I think, because I try to piece it together. Where were those turning points? Because I'm so different. And how were those developed? How did I develop all this? Part of it was born of just massive heartache. And I was in a really abusive relationship right out of high school. And the guy beat me up for 9 months. And I got pushed out of a moving car. I got choked. I got all these things happen to me. And it really formed me into a very tough person. And it had it hardened my heart a little bit. So I had to work on. So there are things, from starting from really, really young age all the way up that have just formed who I am. But definitely I can see things in the really earlier years that have gotten me to where I am now. And I'm super proud of what I've accomplished. I could lay my head down at night. The problem with people that are real high drivers, people that are high energy or high, I don't know what you want to call us, accomplished, I don't know. We tend to look, when I got this award right behind me, this is a $10 million award, and my company was doing $1 million a month in revenue, and we were rocking and rolling and just cranking out the revenue and cranking out the business, and I couldn't keep up. It was amazing. Those were during, I think, 2017, 18, 19, and 20 were big years for me. And as soon as I got that award and I held it, and I'd just been wanting it for so long, that I sat there for maybe 40 seconds holding that award, and I was like, well, this is it. I did it. I got the $10 million award. And immediately I said, well, the next award is $100 million. I didn't even enjoy it. And Chris Gethin, who is a world-renowned bodybuilder and a celebrity trainer, he said to me at my world premiere party, he said, Cristy, and he's a very dear friend of mine. He lives here in Boise, and we talk often. And he said, he looked at me, and he just kind of looked at me and held my face and said, try to enjoy this moment, because people like us who are built like us, it'll go by so quick, and you'll be already thinking of the next thing. Try to really build. So I'm super proud. I could lay my head down and be super proud of what I've accomplished, and in the film and in all my books I've written. But then I keep jumping ahead, like, what's next? I'm already thinking of another film with Generation Iron. I'm like, well, that went really well. Maybe they'll sign with me again and we'll do something else, and I'm like, stop. The film's been out for less than a month. Let's just enjoy this moment, Cristy, and it's hard for me to stop and enjoy it. But when I do stop and think, Code Red has changed a lot of people's lives, and me showing up for myself the way I did and did it publicly, I did it with grace and poise, and it caused a lot of people to level up their game. And that is something I can hang my hat on.
That's so beautiful. So well said. Before we get going, the documentary now, it's out there. We'll get into what's next. But right now, it's on so many great platforms. It's sitting in the top 5. Where can our listeners find this documentary? What kind of platforms can they see it on? Where can they actually get a piece and say, I want to sit down and watch this?
You can rent it or buy it on Amazon Prime or Apple TV, and and Google Play.
Yes.
People are saying, I should have bought it. I should have bought it instead of rented it, because they're wanting to watch it like you did, Joe, multiple times. And I even find myself wanting to watch it. That sounds a little weird, but I just get so fired up over it. I mean, it's exciting and it's fun and it's great. So Amazon Prime, Apple TV, Google Play, you can rent it or buy it.
That's fantastic. No, those are great platforms to be on, available worldwide. And again, before we go, what's next now? Because I'm sure you're thinking about another film, another book. You never will sit still. I know that. So I'm excited to hear about, can you give us a little hint about maybe what's happening next for you?
I had another book come out, Rebel for Life, that came out the same day the film came out.
Okay.
I don't know, you guys. I know I'm in prep for my next show, and so I'm kind of focusing on that, but I'm open to opportunities. I guess, you guys, I don't know what I thought, but I thought when the world sees the premiere, I'm going to come down my condo. I own a condo at the top of a hotel downtown Boise. It's really beautiful. I would come down my condo and I would open up and there would be the paparazzi and people would be like, oh my gosh, it's Cristy Code Red. And you know what? Nothing changed, and nothing has changed for me. So I know that I know I've spoken on some big stages. I spoke at FHL in front of 6,000 entrepreneurs, and I know I'll get those opportunities again. And I know I'll get other film opportunities again. It's just a matter of when, and so for right now, nothing is in the pike. I mean, we've got nothing booked right now, which I know, look, I know that maybe, I don't know what that sounds like, but of course I'll always be honest and authentic. Right this second, nothing is booked. And so I have a couple of little trips that I have a Belgian Malinois, one of those police dogs, and she travels everywhere with me. We are 100% inseparable. And so we have a couple of little trips, we have a cabin up in the woods. We go there every week. And so I'm just kind of living my life. I'm training for a half marathon, but I don't have any big films or big speaking engagements or big book signing like I did with my first book. Nothing is planned right now. And so people, it's the funniest thing. I gained 100 followers on Instagram. Like, it wasn't even I thought I was going to wake up and it'd be like all these hundreds of thousands. I don't know. I don't know what I thought, but nothing much has happened. So I'm kind of just going, well, okay. And you know what? And the bottom line is, it's almost like your walk with Christ. You have to say to God, you know what? If I never get all the things I want, my relationship with you is enough. You are enough, Lord. And that's what I say. I say, if nothing else happens, I'm so happy with what I have produced and what I've put out in the world and the life I've lived and the person I am and the daughter that I am and the auntie that I am and the people I come in contact with. That's fine. If it never goes further from here, I can be happy with what I've done. So I'm happy in the little, I'm happy with much. I'm faithful, and I'm kind of just going to live my life until something big comes, I guess.
Cristy, that is beautiful and so well put. But I'm telling you, if I have to estimate what you're going through right now is the calm before the storm. Because
yes.
You've accomplished, it's going to be that wave hitting you. It's going to be incredible. And when you talked about social media, for our fans, how can people learn more about you? Do you have your Instagrams, your Facebook, Twitter? How can people follow you online to learn more about what you're doing and maybe even get involved with your program that's out there?
I'm in every single platform. I have the exact same handle, and it's at Cristy Code Red.
Fantastic.
And it's Cristy Code Red. I made sure I kept that same, and I post frequently online. I'm on YouTube and on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. multiple times a day. I'm very, very, very active, which I think is part of growing your brand. Entrepreneurs listening to me, you need to be on social media. This is a free platform. You need to be posting. I post once a week. No. You need to, you need to be posting like 15 times a day.
Yeah.
More. And be a product of your product, or ain't nobody going to buy your product.
So well put. That is fantastic. Cristy, really, you are such a dynamic individual. I was so excited to have you come on board. I'm telling you, from the first line of your documentary, I said, you are my kind of people. You definitely are. I think you're fantastic. I hope you enjoyed your time on this show. We're going to have links below to your Instagram, any handle you want. We'd even be proud to put links to your documentary below and all the descriptions once it comes out. We'd love to promote you in any way. Anything you have going on in the future, please reach out to us. You're incredible. We'd love to cover you again. It's been fantastic having you on the show. Really, you inspired me, and I'm sure you're going to inspire our viewers. I know you inspired Chris as well. Again, I have to thank you so much for taking the time to come on. It's been an incredible time with you. Really, you're a fantastic person.
I agree.
I appreciate this, you guys. This is really helps me a lot. Thank you.
No. Are you kidding me? You are helping so many people. So really, anything we could do to help you, please let us know. Feel free to reach out to us. Anything we could do to promote your material, we'd be more than proud for it. Again, this has been the Live Your Dreams podcast. Yes. I'm Joe Gawalis.
Chris Victor.
Cristy, thank you so much for coming on. Cristy Code Red, everybody, has been fantastic. You can find her documentary again, Code Red Diaries of Madness. You can find it on Apple, Google Play, Amazon Prime. It's out there. Don't just rent it, buy it. I've already watched it twice.
Yes,
you're going to want to do that unless you want to rent it twice and then buy it after. Cristy, that way. So again, everybody watching, thank you so much, Cristy, for coming on board. You've been fantastic. Thank you so much, everybody.